The child who fought against invisibility. Have you ever felt too small to be noticed? Have you ever had to scream with your body because no one heard your voice? My name is Bruce Lee. Before I was the dragon, I was just a skinny kid from Hong Kong who seemed more like a movie character than someone destined to change the real world. Actually, I was literally born on a film set. My father was a Chinese opera actor, and art was already in my bones before I even understood what it meant to fight. At 3 months old, I appeared in my first film. It wasn't a choice, it was a reflection of the life that surrounded me: cinema, stage, masks, ... But off camera, reality was different. Hong Kong in the 1940s was unstable, marked by war and poverty. I was restless, combative, and spent more time in the streets than at home. I started practicing Wing Chun not out of passion, but for protection. I got beat up a lot. Fighting became my voice, my armor. Over time, I realized I didn't just want to survive, I wanted to be heard. And for that, I had to do much more than punch fast. I had to challenge centuries of tradition, break racial barriers, and turn my body into a universal language. That was my first battle, proving that a skinny Chinese boy could be seen and heard and respected. The exile that made me dangerous. At 18, my behavior on the streets started to attract attention from the police. My father, afraid I'd be arrested or killed, made a hard decision. He sent me back to the United States to live with family friends in Seattle. It was an exile, but also a chance. There, with few resources and a heavy accent, I began teaching martial arts in parks and garages. It wasn't common to see a Chinese man teaching kung fu to Americans. And worse, I accepted white students, black students, even women, something the traditional martial arts community saw as betrayal. I received threats and an ultimatum: either stop teaching non-Chinese or face the consequences. I chose to fight, literally. In 1964, a secret challenge was issued. If I lost, I would have to stop teaching. But I won, too quickly. That showed me that what I was doing wasn't just art, it was revolution. There was born the seed of Jeet Kune Do, a philosophy that went beyond styles, beyond borders. Absorb what is useful, discard what is not, and add what is uniquely your own. That's how I wanted to fight and live. The fight against invisible racism. Have you ever felt the world applaud you, but not listen to you? In the 1960s, I was already known in the martial arts community. I was invited to give demonstrations, record videos, and finally got a chance to train Hollywood celebrities. Steve McQueen, James Coburn, Roman Polanski, they all wanted to learn from me. I was respected, but outside the shadows, on screen, it was a different story. I tried to be an actor, tried hard. I was a fight consultant on series, but whenever the character had lines, they gave them to someone else. When I suggested the idea for a series called Kung Fu with a Chinese protagonist, they refused. They said the American audience wouldn't accept an Asian hero. Instead, the role went to David Carradine, a white actor. It hurt. I saw the door, but it only opened halfway. They were afraid of what I represented: an Asian man who was smart, strong, confident, philosophical. It was too disruptive. But I didn't back down. I kept creating, training, writing. If the system wouldn't let me in, I'd build my own. The film that changed everything. I decided to return to Hong Kong. There, at least, I was more than a side character. To my surprise, I was already a star without even knowing. My videos had gone viral before the internet existed. I got an offer to star in The Big Boss. I accepted. The film was a massive success. Then came Fist of Fury, and then The Way of the Dragon, which I wrote, directed, and starred in myself. I faced Chuck Norris in the iconic fight at the Roman Colosseum, a scene that became a symbol of my fighting philosophy. The world finally saw me, truly, with my body, with my soul, with ideas. But what I was creating was bigger than me. It was a bridge between East and West, a new archetype of hero. One that didn't need to carry weapons, just purpose. Hollywood then had no choice. They called me back. Hollywood, finally at my feet. I returned to the United States with an ambitious project, Enter the Dragon, a film with Hollywood production but with my philosophical vision and Eastern aesthetics. For the first time, an Asian man would be the main hero of an action movie in Western cinemas, no longer a caricature but an icon. Enter the Dragon was more than fighting, it was a symbol. A visual scream that said, "We are here." The film was a game changer. Everything was ready for the world premiere, but I wouldn't see it. In July 1973, while reviewing scenes from the film, I had a severe headache. I took a painkiller, laid down, and never got up again. I was 32 years old. The death no one could explain. My death became a mystery, conspiracy, theory. Some said I was poisoned. Others said my body couldn't handle so much intensity. The truth, to this day, no one really knows. But the real question is, does it matter? My physical absence became an eternal presence. My body stopped, but my ideas, my fights, my spirit, those stayed alive. I was buried in Seattle, next to my son Brandon. And even there, under the earth, I began to grow again. To become a symbol, an inspiration, a reference for generations. My legacy became stronger than any muscle. And my philosophy is simple, direct, sharp, still echoes today. Be water, my friend. The legacy of a body in motion. Today, my face is on t-shirts, my quotes are all over social media. My movements are in films, games, dances, sports. But what I truly left the world wasn't a fighting style. It was a way of thinking. The water that adapts, the strike that molds, the spirit that does not bow. All of this was born from pain, exclusion, rebellion, but also from love of art, freedom, and self-knowledge. I taught that to fight is not just to strike, it's to understand, to overcome, and that no label can contain someone who truly knows themselves. You don't need to be invincible, you need to be authentic. And if any part of my story touches you, be inspired, but above all, find your own form. Because the greatest fight in life is discovering who you really are. And if this story moved you, just imagine how many more we're going to uncover here. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and turn on notifications. That way, you won't miss a single journey told by the very ones who lived it from beginning to end.